Changing lifestyles, eating patterns and population growth have all contributed to a massive rise in rubbish. French household waste has doubled in the last 40 years. It's not only a problem for the environment, it also costs money and takes up a lot of time. This week we're taking a look at some of the most exceptional and challenging responses to managing waste. Coming up in this week's show, nearly 1 year on, Japan is still struggling to manage the mountains of debris left over by the earthquake and tsunami. Unprecedented cleanup efforts are being stalled by fears the rubbish may be contaminated by radiation. Next, Mexico City's leaders look for solutions to a garbage crisis triggered by the closure of its largest landfill site. Illegal dumps are now common sight across the capital. And finally, we're heading below the surface here in France for a look at a high-tech approach to waste management. The town of Romainville has eliminated the need for garbage trucks by shifting all of its operations underground. 215 tonnes of waste collected in this treatment centre every day. It sounds like a lot, but now compare that to the waste and debris left over from the tsunami in Japan, when several decades of waste was left behind in a single day. This next report from our correspondents in Japan on the monumental cleanup still underway.
Piece by piece, the house is reduced to piles of bricks, tiles and wooden beams. This former home, another victim of the March 11th tsunami, will become part of the rubble that is found across northeast Japan.
We'll need another year to finish dismantling buildings and collecting debris in this district alone.
There are mountains of debris as far as the eye can see. 1 year after the disaster, the devastated areas are still home to 23 million tonnes of debris. The cleanup operation involved thousands of people, trucks and tractors. Dealing with the devastation left behind by the tsunami is the first critical step on the road to the northeast region's revival.
In Ishinomaki, we are dealing with 6.13 million tonnes of debris. The tsunami created as much debris in a single day as it is usually produced in 106 years.
For the Japanese authorities, the only option is a huge operation to sort through waste, such as these tatami mats and bicycles. Some of the work can only be done by hand.
We place wooden parts of the house here to be incinerated. Wire and scrap iron is also separated from it.
The aim is to recycle as much debris as possible. Some will go towards rebuilding houses and roads that were washed away a year ago.
Among unburnable debris, we sort out iron and concrete in order to reuse them. Of all the debris, 70 to 80% will be recycled.
Recycle and share the burden. Ishinomaki City will send some of its debris to other prefectures in Japan. That's more difficult for Minamisoma, which is 25 kilometers from the crippled Fukushima Daiichi nuclear power plant. National solidarity ends where potentially radioactive waste begins.
Even though the radiation level in the debris is low, we have no idea where to take it because the government has not set any standards for radiation levels in waste. Harmful rumours are to blame for the difficulty in taking debris out of the prefecture. Residents in other parts of the country are against accepting anything from Fukushima.
Japan's government hopes to have resolved the debris crisis within 3 years. Only then will it be possible to begin rebuilding the stricken region.
As well as waste on the land, the Japanese tsunami also created a massive sea of debris. Up to 20 million tonnes of wreckage, estimated to be as large as the state of California, appears to be crossing the Pacific Ocean bound for the west coasts of Canada and the United States. While there's already signs rubble has begun to arrive, oceanographers are expecting objects of all sizes, including large boats and even homes, to hit the shores in the next few years. What we can see here is a very effective system for recycling all the material that can't go in the rubbish bin. We've got wood separated from plastic, separated from organic material. But not all countries have such well-established structures. When Mexico closed its largest landfill site, it exposed a huge gap in the way the country manages waste. This next report from the Mexican capital.
This is Mexico's biggest landfill. Officially, it's been shut down since December, but the piles of trash keep growing, giving work to rag pickers from the poor neighborhoods. The dump was closed to limit greenhouse gas emissions in this highly polluted metropolis, but local authorities didn't offer an alternative trash site. Throwing away garbage in neighboring sites meant waiting hours in line.
Usually we do 2 rounds, but now we can only do 1. That's it.
Sometimes we wait 6 to 8 hours to empty the dumpster. Before, it took an hour, max.
In their haste, local authorities arranged to throw the garbage in nearby cities, but the other municipalities were unprepared. The Tlalnepantla dump receives 800 metric tons a day. Mexico City wanted to send another 2,500 tons. The mayor flatly refused.
Mexico City's situation is deplorable, but we can't accept this. I can't allow it. I told my city council in 4 years, when there'll be nowhere left for us to dump our trash. Residents will say, oh right, it's because the mayor allowed this in 2012.
Authorities from the capital are in negotiation with other cities to accept the garbage. Environmental organizations view closing the dump as a novel way to start a zero trash movement.
We need clear and specific goals to reduce waste. We also need to encourage people to sort their trash, which Mexico City residents are just starting to do.
Recycling bins have also been installed throughout the capital. A municipal worker helps people separate reusable items. Mexico City hopes to sell 40% of its trash to recycling companies, but residents have to change their habits first.
This centre outside of Paris was the first in the country to create energy from compost. It's happening inside here, and can you tell me exactly how it works?
We separate organic matter from other waste. With this organic matter, we make compost. And when the matter is decomposing, biogas is produced. We then use this biogas to power electrical generators in order to produce electricity.
In recent years, there's been a new wave of technologies to treat waste. One of the most recent is happening in a town here in France, in Romainville, where all of the operations have been moved underground. We went to check it out.
Out with the old rubbish collection and in with the new. Romainville's pneumatic waste system has changed the way Sandra Garson treats her garbage. She's welcomed the system and, as long as her taxes don't rise, has no reason to complain.
I think it's a really good idea, but we'll have to wait and see whether financially it's a good idea or not.
The brown inlet takes normal waste, the yellow recycled, the rubbish kept separately in an underground chute. Twice a day, a current of air creates a vacuum, which transports the material at 70 kilometres per hour through a 4-kilometre system of pipes, until it arrives at this collection terminal.
The underground pipes which transport the waste bring it here via this green pipe. Everything arrives through these pipes.
From here, the garbage drops into these cylinders. Once full, a truck arrives to take the waste to be treated.
In the collection zone, we totally eliminate the need for trucks. So it has an environmental impact on noise levels, the production of carbon dioxide, and it reduces traffic congestion.
Operational 24/7, it's not the first of its kind. The technology itself hails from Sweden. When trucks were being blocked by the snow, authorities decided to move waste collection underground. But here in Romainville, snow falls only once or twice in a year, which is why certain residents are opposed to the project, along with concerns over its efficiency, practicality and €10 million price tag.
Before there were bins and trucks like there are everywhere. It was never a real problem, and now we have a solution that doesn't work. A box like this, nothing out of the ordinary. If you had to throw it in a normal bin, there wouldn't be a problem. Here, look what happens when you try to put it in.
It was the mayor who championed the project, attracting external funding for 80%, including finance from the French authorities. The system already services 2,600 properties. She's now looking to expand.
It's definitely an investment, but it's an investment that makes sense. Overall, we use less energy, and we pollute less with this system than we did before.
The French government is waiting to assess the outcome in Romainville before it allocates more funding to similar projects already on the cards.
In theory, of course, the best type of waste is that which doesn't exist, and the idea has been put into action in the French city of Besançon. Here, residents are being charged according to their output, using a bin with a built-in chip that records the weight. The system has been tried in other areas, with the results being that household rubbish has been halved. And that's enough trash talk for one environment show. Thanks for joining us this week, and we look forward to seeing you, as always, here on France 24.